I'm JR, and I'm so excited to show you the MakeHaven workshop. The workshop requires eye protection. So remember, before entering the shop and at all times in the shop, to have your eye protection on your head. First of all, we're going to use the indoor. There's an in and an outdoor, so that you don't hit each other coming in and out of the space. So come on in. Over here, as you enter, you'll find additional personal protective gear, including face masks, respiratory protection, ear masks. There's a fire extinguisher that's available. There's a small eye wash station with another one available at the sink. And there's even an emergency button that calls 911 when held and for 3 seconds. As you look around the shop, you'll notice that we have a new signage system. These indicate if a badge is required for that tool or a training. It also indicates what tools require a buddy to be in the shop so that you shouldn't be using this tool alone. And it indicates where you can find more information about that tool. There's a URL at the bottom, and this QR code will take you directly to a mobile-friendly version of the instructions for that tool. This system will actually enforce that only people that have the badge can use it. Right now, this tool is disabled. In order to enable it, I take my MakeHaven pass, I wave it there, I can then enable the tool. You'll see it was connected to the vacuum cleaner, and when I'm done, I can log out. This ensures only people that have taken the orientations that we require for these tools can turn them on. These vacuums also require to be emptied in order for the dust collection to be effective. So as you're using the tool, be sure to check the vacuum that it's appropriately emptied, and if necessary, empty it into one of the trash receptacles. The dust collector here is a big improvement over what we've had in the past, and is connected to the table saw, the jointer, and the planer. It has a control system right here. Most of the time, when you're using the tools, this system will just turn on automatically, and you don't have to manually operate it. There is one case, however, where you would manually operate it, and that is using the floor sweep. The floor sweep is a opening in the air system, which allows you to just sweep in your waste dust. What we want you to do, though, is to remove any metals from it, because the system is not appropriate for metals to go in. It can cause a spark and a fire. We have put magnets here as a protective measure, but we wouldn't want a lot of metal to overwhelm it. In fact, there should be no metal work going on in the wood shop at all. So in order to use this, you would open the gate, and when you were finished, you would close the gate so people get the full benefit of the suction that the system provides. In fact, there's gates on all of the tools, and you would open and close those gates as you use those various tools. Turning this on when you're using the floor sweep is as simple as hitting the green button. Turning it off is just slightly more complicated in that this stop requires that you not only hit it, but you have to reset it so that others can turn on the tools and use the tools and have this turn on automatically. If it's left depressed, this won't turn on when you use the table saw. And you have to come up here, rotate the switch so that it's not in the disabled position. Another protection for dust are these air filtration systems, of which we have 2. These move the air in a circular path around the room, removing all of the fine particulates. They're remotely controlled. There's a remote hanging on the wall near them, and you can change the speed, and you can set them to turn off automatically after a period of time, which is very useful if you've done some work and want to be able to leave them on a timer so they're not running all day, all night. Since this is a new shop, it gives us an opportunity to really keep it much more clean and presentable and usable by everyone. So as you are using the shop, be sure to be vigilant around cleaning up. We'll have shop vacs around, and if anything isn't collected in the regular system, we want to make sure that you clean it up manually. Also, we want you to cut down scraps when you're throwing them in the trash can so that we don't get a trash can that's overflowing or that's obstructed by one large piece or long boards that are difficult to throw out. So if it's something you're throwing out, please cut it down into a size that easily fits into the trash can. Scraps that are reusable have been really helpful to people, and so we're going to continue to do that. However, we're not going to store those scraps in the space because it's often collected less than the most usable scraps. We're going to have it in the back room and in a space that will identify to people as they come in and take a tour of the shop. So know that any usable scraps can still be used, but we're going to identify a place outside of this room for them. As you come back further, you'll notice that there is a flammables cabinet. This cabinet is actually only for flammables. If you have other things that are not flammable, that are just paints and so on, we'll have another shelf off to the side for those to be stored. Things that go in the flammable cabinet should have the data sheet associated with them in this binder, and so that we know what exactly the chemicals are and that they have been approved for use. One final element we have related to dust collection and care in the space is we have this window fan, and this window fan can be enabled with this switch, and it will exhaust the air in the room so that you can remove any additional dust and keep the air moving. So with that, I've given you a preview of what the shop has to offer, and we are working on it all of the time, so expect upgrades and changes, but this gives you a good beginning guide to using the shop.